Tara.
I'm Ryan.
We love Disney movies.
So we decided to watch them all, from Snow White
to Frozen 2 and beyond. Each episode will watch a different Walt Disney Animated Studios film and tell you all about it.
Did we like it? Does it hold up? Who's our favorite hero?
Or villain.
We'll give you history and fun facts about each movie.
And sometimes we'll invite our friends to watch along with us.
So put on your tiara
or your evil crown
and join us on our adventure.
This is Tara and Ryan's Princess Diaries.
Hello, fairy tale friends. Hello. Happy 100 episodes, Tara.
Happy 100 episodes.
Do you do anything special for any of your clients that make it to 100 years?
That is a great question. I mean, when I worked full time in a like long-term care community, yeah, we would have like a party or whatever. I didn't
know if you had a song you sang.
I don't always know when somebody turns 100. Like, people have to clue me in, right? And sometimes, I will say, like, sometimes people have like birthday balloons on their wheelchair where they're wearing like a birthday something, and sometimes that's not always accurate. Like, sometimes it's a day old, but they're still on their wheelchair.
Oh, okay.
Like,
I see what you're saying. I'm not saying
like it's not there. Yeah. So but I will ask.
I thought you meant like the people who work there thought it was their birthday, and the clients
no,
are like, it's not my birthday.
Well, sometimes that happens. Yeah, where even if it is their birthday, they'll say no, it's not. So typically, what I do is if I'm observe that there is a sign or balloons or something that says it's someone's birthday, I will say, "Oh, I heard like." Hey, Ryan, I heard you had a birthday
okay,
today.
wait. I'm not going into like if they have a birthday or not. Do you have something special for their centennial?
No.
Hi, fairy tale friends. It's Tara and Ryan. We're here for
Are we
our
starting
100th
again?
episode. No, we're going right into it. I love it.
Okay.
I
sing happy birthday.
This is going to be.
But I always ask, I'm sorry, I'm back on it. I always ask folks, because that's the other thing. Not everybody likes being sung happy birthday. Like, so I always ask if would it be okay for us to sing happy birthday.
Interesting, because
and
if
I
I
have
remember
been
back
told
to my
no.
40th birthday, you made everyone sing to me, even though you know I don't like when people sing their birthday.
Well, yeah, that was different.
Well, fairy tale friends, we're here on our 100th episode. We're so happy you're here with us. We're doing a mailbag episode. Yes. I'm sure in your actual wherever you get your podcast, it may say we're over 100. We're not counting repeats. We're not counting the little things where we send
the
out
mini
tales, stuff like that. We are counting the mini tales.
Oh, we are counting the mini tales. Oh, okay.
Yes, absolutely.
So it's more the re-releases and the like, hey, we got an announcement.
Yeah. So those don't count. But this is 100 episodes. So what we've done is we've asked you, our listeners, to send in questions, to send in anything you want. We're going to go over those today. But first, before we do that, how are you feeling about 100 episodes?
I'm feeling pretty good. It's kind of crazy that it's been 100. I mean, I will say I'm feeling a little burned out.
We're
listeners,
a little burned out on this season.
Behind the curtain. I am feeling a little burned out, but I think it's also because the pandemic, things have lifted a little bit. We're still very much in COVID times, but things are much better than they were when we started the podcast, which was, we started it in the shutdown.
Yes.
So I think that, we're kind of learning, getting back to old routines or a new routine.
Yeah. Well, we're not holed up in the house like we once were.
Yeah.
So we get to the weekend and it's like, well, these take a long time to record. So especially the episodes with guests.
Yeah.
And if you've been a guest, you know what we're talking about.
And we appreciate you.
Thank you so much. But yes. So let's go ahead and dive into this because we've been kind of just to let you guys know, like, what's the future of the podcast. So first of all, the plan is right now we're going to do 2 more episodes with this season. We're going to do Bolt and we're going to do The Princess and the Frog, both with very special guests. And then we're going to take 2 weeks off. We're going to, then that next week, we're going to do The Iron Giant, which was the winner of our in-betweener brackets. We're going to take another 2 weeks off, and then we decided to kind of take a little more time off. So we'll do 2 weeks Iron Giant, 2 weeks, and then I have decided we're going to do Batman: Mask of the Phantasm.
Because that was number 2, yeah.
And then take another 2 weeks off, and then we'll start another season. Now the seasons, we think from here on out, we're going to try and condense them. We're going to try and do some other stuff to kind of give us, some more free time. We've been talking about changing the format a little bit. That's kind of gone back and forth. We'll figure that out.
Yeah.
This is something I
we
haven't
both have
pitched
some
to
thoughts
you.
on it. So
I haven't pitched to you, but the thought of doing like 3 episodes a month instead of 4, so that we have like an off week or something like that. You know, we're not professional podcasters. If you would like for us to be professional podcasters, I need each person who listens to this to get 100 of their friends to also listen to this podcast, and then we can start talking.
Yes. Yes, it is, you know, our free time, and we very much have enjoyed it, and it's been such a fun ride. I think it's brought...
I'm worried you're sounding like it's been a fun ride. It's going to continue to be a fun ride.
Yes. We're not done. But but we're reflecting on 100 episodes, and so I'm just saying that it's been way more fun than I think I ever thought it would be. I don't know. We are both, well, I am a completionist. I think you kind of are too. Or not as much as I am.
I don't think as much as you are, especially with video games. I also play way more video games than you do. So if I was a completionist, like, it'd be a real problem.
That's true.
When you play a video game, you like do one video game and you finish it.
Yes.
I play it enough to go, I understand what this game is getting at.
Well, it's also that's your job.
Right.
But so I don't think I ever saw us quitting outright, at least through Disney, at least through like Disney Present, right? But I don't know. I don't think I ever thought about would we be doing this 2 years later, 3 years later, right?
Well, yeah, because when we started, it was just going to be the main stories.
And it was just going to be full episodes every week, and we would have been done by now.
And then we started the guest episodes. Part of the reason they take so long to do is because we get friends from out of town who we haven't seen in a while.
Yeah.
And it ends up like on top of recording, sometimes 2 hours worth of a podcast. There's watching the movie and also us catching up with people.
Yes. And I will say that's been my favorite part, I think. Yes. I think our guests, I've said this, I think, in every Mailbag episode. I went ahead and went back and listened to them. But I think our guests really bring a different viewpoint, a different perspective. And I just have really, really enjoyed reconnecting with folks that we haven't seen in a while. Some folks we are very good friends with. Some one of us are good friends with, but the other isn't. Some are more acquaintances that we've like met along the way. Like we've got a mix of how we know people.
Well,
and that's been a lot of fun.
It's also fun because this is the episode right before Bolt, which is I think our first episode where no one who's on the podcast has
seen
watched it.
Yeah, which
Gretchen
was a lot of
will
fun.
Be our special guest, and she was just like, I just want to watch a dog movie.
Yeah,
like, okay.
Yeah.
So that's a fun new dynamic we're bringing. So that's the plan. So the next season, I think regardless of what happens, the seasons are going to be shorter than they have been. I will map them out a little more. I think there's only going to be one more Disney season,
and then we're caught up.
Which
for the most crazy.
Part. I think I'm going to draw the line at Encanto, regardless if something else comes out. I don't think anything's on the horizon.
Well, and then I think we can always revisit it.
Yes,
when we're doing other things.
We'll fold them in. Like this season, we're also folding in the Brandy Cinderella.
Yes, that was a promise we made to listeners in one of the Mailbag episodes, so that is still coming. It just got kind of moved around in the schedule.
So we're gonna do we have a guest and we're gonna do a full episode for that. I think there's another one that's a little I found out I screwed up the timeline on Enchanted. We should have been done Enchanted before Bolt.
So we
are going to. Oh no, we're not.
Okay.
Listen, we're taking a break, but Enchanted is also a good one to come back on.
Oh yeah, that is a fun one to come back on.
The next season, and we'll hopefully go all the way to Encanto. But like I said, we're going to start maybe dropping off a little bit when we start getting tired, especially since we're putting all the mini tales in between, which that's another thing, is we're kind of adding a lot of stuff. We have been over the time to the mini tales. People have asked us, are you ever going to do the live action stuff in an earlier Mailbag episode? The answer, of course, as most of you know, is yes now. Not just the live action remakes, but we did Turner and Hooch, which brings in a lot of the more PG and underrated Touchstone films.
Someone had asked, I don't remember, it was from their first Mailbag episode about Swiss Family Robinson, which I've never seen.
Now I do have a thing of classics with 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Okay.
Swiss Family Robinson, The Absent-Minded Professor, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The computer wore tennis shoes, I think.
That's when you wanted to do.
Yes, we got to even if it's a mini tail, we got to get Joe on for that because Joe, there's a weird computer wore tennis show joke from the origin of how I know Joe.
Oh, that's interesting.
Which is a web series he did based on like working at a comic book store, and there was a whole episode about people trying to get free passes to movies because that's what this store did. They get, there's a screening. So their big joke was they have, oh man, you got passes for the computer wears tennis shoes too, which I think at the time was a really funny joke. But like if they did like a Lego sequel to the computer wear tennis shoes, I wouldn't be super surprised.
Yeah.
Now.
Well, and we should say, if you don't know who Joe is, he was on our crossover episode.
One of the 16-bit gladiators.
And this is a good point to segue in our first mailbag episode.
Oh man, I gotta let's take a real quick break while I find that voicemail.
Well, let me intro it. Like talk a little bit about it.
Okay.
For folks who don't remember. In our first mailbag episode, we played a voicemail from our first ever caller on the hotline. And we thought it was real. And we bleeped out his name. He was
Jim from Forney,
Forney, Texas. And it was a hilarious call, and it brought us so much joy. And
for over a year. He called on September 21st, 2020. So go and look at when we released the 16-bit Gladiators crossover, and that's when after the microphones went off.
Joe, we made a joke about, oh my gosh, we have to play you guys this voicemail. And Joe said, wait, what? You didn't realize that was me?
So apparently Joe used to be a late night radio DJ,
and that was like a character or something that he did.
He would call other people's shows or something and call and be Jim from Forney asking dumb stuff. But now let me just play this again.
What I will say is I heard it because we played it on the first mailbag.
Yes.
And what I will say is once I heard it, I was like, oh, that's definitely Joe.
Well,
but without like comparing it or thinking Joe did that, thinking it was just a random call.
Now, you've listened to the mailbag more recently, but if I recall correctly, I posited that this was either an absolutely real call or whoever was doing it was a comic genius.
Yes.
So
Joe, you are a comic genius.
Yes. So here we go. Let's hear from Jim from Forney.
Hey, this is Jim from Forney, Texas. I called to try to find some tripods. I thought this was a number for Yo Tripod. I'm in need of some tripod assistance, so that way I could set up some cameras on tripods. I can't be a monopod. It's got to be tripods. I only work in threes. If you give me a call back, that'd be fantastic. I don't know nothing about no princesses. Don't know what that has to do with tripod. Again, Jim from Forney, trying to call Yo Tripod. I think this is the right number. Thank you. God bless.
Okay. It was so brilliant.
So
I still love it.
I can kind of hear Joe in
I
there.
can hear him in it.
If you
but now
say
that
so.
I know him,
yes.
I can hear him. But
I can kind of hear his voice, but he does it's so good.
It's great.
And the God bless at the end can't be monopod. I
only work in
so what I do is I splice these in, but I also play them live so we can kind of get the energy off of them.
Yeah.
And listeners, we're dying laughing during this thing. Mm-hmm. It's so good.
It's great.
Joe, thank you. I kind of wish you'd never told me. I kind of wish Joe, I'm here to see you I can't believe this is your deathbed and you asked for me to see you. Why did you want me to see you? Ryan, there's something I must tell you. Lean close. He's like, I'm Jim from Forney. Let's talk a little bit more about some of the future stuff we want to do.
Sure.
We've talked about, so the unofficial plan right now is Disney season, Don Bluth season. So the next one after this will be a Don Bluth one, and I don't think we're going to do all the Don Bluth movies. I think some of the other ones we'll do as mini tales.
Okay.
Like Pebble and the Penguin.
Now, here's a question. When we do Don Bluth season, will we then do mini tales of other things mixed in between?
Some other things, but there's plenty of Don Bluth stuff. Like I have a plan. I would like to get the 16-bit Gladiators back on to go over the Don Bluth video games.
Oh, cool.
Which are the Laserdisc, and kind of talk about those. I've got some stuff that's Don Bluth related, but it will also be Disney stuff and doing some other things like that.
Yeah.
So then we'll take another break and do Pixar. Pixar will probably take 2 seasons.
Yes, I'm very excited for Pixar. I kind of almost want Pixar before Don Bluth.
I think we should do something that's a little bit older.
Yeah, you're right.
There's a lot of nostalgia involved in what we do, and I think Don Bluth is a little bit older. And then I'd like to do, I have like a couple ideas after that, including doing, studio. I think I want to do Studio Ghibli, or Ghibli, but I don't know if a whole season, if that we're going to be able to maintain that, because I don't know it's going to be as nostalgic for you as it has been. I think we're going to lose a lot of energy for that. So I think doing that as part of a Oscar Best Animated, we talked about doing like all the Best Animated nominees, except the ones we've done in Disney and Pixar.
Yeah. Also, we had talked about, I think these were mini tales though. Are we continuing the Disney afternoon?
Doing the Disney afternoon. Let me do the other season we're thinking about doing is Jim Henson. I've got a Jim Henson season mapped out because I think he's got, and while he's not animation, I think it's a nostalgic, interesting art form that he's done so many different weird stuff.
And we are first and foremost, I think, a nostalgic.
Well, it's interesting because that's a fun thing too. Because we started as just a Disney animation podcast,
all Disney and animation. But I think as we've explored this, and as we're 100 episodes in, I would call us a nostalgia podcast.
Yeah,
whose main focus is Disney
animation
at the moment.
Right. It's kind of like. There's a little bit of this feels like something we cover on the podcast, but I think Jim Henson has such like ranging past his death into like the Muppets continuing and Jim Henson Creature Shop continuing, all that stuff. I think that'd be an interesting season to do, and then that's plenty.
Yes, that's more than enough.
It's more than enough. The spreadsheet I have of all the of the 500 to 600
it's overwhelming.
movies we could do as mini tales or whatever has been a fun.
It makes Ryan excited. It makes me overwhelmed.
I love it. It's if you ever want to see that, get at me. I'll let you guys know. 707 TRPD1. Actually, don't call me about a spreadsheet. Email us and I'll send you to. I don't know. I would just read the link off to you in a return call. That's another thing I found out. If you're
touching.
Oh, sorry. That's another thing. If you don't want to call us, you can apparently message us. And we could just read it that way if you want to message 707,
cool.
text message us. Anyway, so that's that plan there. We talked about doing other stuff for mini tales, doing live action Disney, continuing Disney. Everything we've started will continue. Disney Afternoon,
the
Childhood Trauma Theater. That's we're going to go back to for a while. Live action Disney, what I'm calling the Disney sports thing. Which is both the comedy sports stuff and the Disney kind of more triumphant, Miracle, Invincible, $1 Million Arm, stuff like that. We're also going to throw Little Giants in there.
Yes, we are.
Even though that's not really technically Disney.
Whatever, we threw Turner and Hooch in there, so.
Again, Touchstone is owned by Disney.
I think I can find a way to make it connect.
Well, Rick Moranis is in it, so
that's true. That. And Ed O'Neill. Don't forget about him.
I think Rick Moranis, but I'm saying he has more of a Disney connection with Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Oh, that's true.
The other thing I was going to say is I have promised this, and I don't know how we're going to work it in, but we are going to, I've decided, we talked about this in an earlier episode, get Tara to watch Back to the Future and get her thoughts on it. And finally get that out of the way. Because again, nostalgia podcast. And I think that one kind of qualifies for Childhood Trauma Theater because of some of the strange
the way I know what you're talking about.
But so
if there's one other person out there who hasn't seen it.
There's a couple future episodes I'd like to talk about that are some big ideas I have. We have promised a live action episode of Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland.
We'd like to get that going.
Yes, and by live I mean a Twitch stream or a YouTube live stream or something like that where we let everybody watch it, and then we'll release it. We'll watch it all together, and you guys can comment while we're watching the movie. Do a 1, 2, 3 play thing, and I'll hit play at the same time. We obviously can't broadcast Alice in Wonderland. And we'll talk during it, and then we'll record afterwards. And as we're talking about it, people can like write in questions, and we'll do that sort of thing. So I'd like to do that this next season.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Mm-hmm. I have also come up with an idea when we finish Disney, something I call the princess movie draft. Have we talked about this?
I'm not sure.
So I'd like to get on some special guests from previous episodes.
Okay.
I've talked to Jeremy about it, strangely. He seemed to find this interesting. And then we talk about the thing that is kind of the breakdown of princess movies. You've got your princess, your prince, your, parental figure, your villain, your sidekick, your henchman, your song. Maybe not song. Maybe we'll hold that up. But things like that. So then we get all of those from all the movies, and we do, or at least a few of them that we can pick from, and then we do like a snake draft where like
that would be fun.
I go first, and I go, well, I'm going to pick a princess. And then you go and you're like, okay, I'm going to choose Ursula for my villain. And then like you fill your positions like you would a fantasy football draft. And then we'll each go away for like 10, 15 minutes and write like, this is the fairy tale I'm presenting. It's like,
I love that idea.
It's something they did on James Bonding podcast where they picked like everybody picked the gadget, everybody picked the villain, the henchman, and then they all wrote. And then it was funny because they're like James Bondy names were fun. I don't think we really did Disney, but like we write like a little story and we get a few people to come and do that. So if you're a past guest, you'd like to do that, come back.
I really like that a lot.
The other thing I'd like to do, which is going to lead us into our next segment, but first I'd like to talk about what I like to call Villain's Court.
Okay.
Which is we will go back. People, if you think a villain deserves their day in court, if you think they were wrongly ranked by us, for example, we always talk about Lady Tremaine.
Yes, and you want Little John to be higher.
Little John's not in the villain.
I'm Prince John. I always say Little John and mean Prince John.
Yes. So that's the thing. They will have their day in court, and we'll decide what that means. We will have a defense and a prosecution.
Interesting.
And we will each argue. We'll have opening statements.
Okay.
Identical.
It's identical.
We will
for all those My Cousin Vinny fans out there.
So we will do that. I'm very planning on that. So with the announcement of Villain's Court, I would like to do something now. We didn't really talk about this.
That's fine. I kind of like being surprised on these mailbag episodes. So
I would like to read the villain's ranking,
top to bottom,
as it is right now. Well, bottom to top.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think some people hear about it and they kind of know what it is. We've got a link to it. It's on all of our social media. I put links to it all the time. But I think some people like kind of understand the concept of it, but like, let's see where we are, because I believe currently we have 69 villains currently on our list, which is insane. And I went through them today. I actually took out the one. We have 68 villains. I apologize. 69 includes the one that we've already recorded. I put in there.
Oh, okay.
We have 68 villains, and I will read them backwards. I think it's the villains ranking is one of my favorite things we've done, and I'm glad. Not to toot my own horn, but I mean,
you created it.
Yes, it's infallible. Well, no, a scientist in a lab.
Yes.
So let's go backwards. For everyone wondering, we're going to now start with number 68 and work our way backwards to number 1. Now, remember, this has nothing to do with our preference for the villain, not how much we like them, though that's included in their ranking. Mm-hmm. This is undisputably where they rank. As a villainous character.
And you're
movies.
Just reading it. There's nothing else I need to be thinking about?
No, not at all.
Okay.
So number 68 is Aconcagua from Saludos Amigos. 67 is Captain Gantu from Lilo and Stitch. 66 is Dr. Terminus from Pete's Dragon. 65 is Edgar from the Aristocats. 64 is the Jack in the Box from Fantasia 2000. 63 is the Gogans from Pete's Dragon. 62 is Bowler Hat Guy, a.k.a. Michael Goobian, from which while he ranks low, he ranks high in names. Yagubian is like the funniest name I've ever heard in my life. From Beat the Robinsons. 61 is the Wolf from Make Mine Music, specifically the Peter and the Wolf segment. 60, Mr. Winky, from Mr. Toad.
He was something.
59 was Bill Sykes from Oliver and Company. Oh, 59, sorry. 58 is Doris, aka did you know her actual name is DOR-15? Like that is her like droid number.
Oh no, I like that even more. That's
from
great.
Meet the Robinsons. Number 57 is Stromboli from Pinocchio. 56, the MCP Master Control Program from Tron. So the dumb face and the big thing. 55 is Lumpjaw. Do you remember Lumpjaw? The bear from Bongo.
Yes. If the name doesn't ring first, I need what it goes with,
right,
and then I remember.
That's what's funny about this is it's a character what I like about this list is it's so stupidly comprehensive, overly comprehensive. One might say. Number 54 is Ratcliffe.
From Pocahontas.
53 is Donald Duck's libido from the
Still
Three
my favorite.
Caballeros. 52, your absolute most favorite character, Amos Slade from Fox and the Hound.
Boo!
51 is Willie the Giant from Fun and Fancy Free. 50 is Teddy Toddy. Do you remember Teddy Toddy? The opera man who killed the whale, the whale who could sing and make fine music. The number 49, the Catty Elephants from Dumbo.
Yeah.
48, Aunt Sarah from Lady and the Tramp.
See, I think it would have been more fun if you had named them and I had to say the movie.
You want to try that? Okay.
Well, we can try it from here on out, but I think the ones that were more obscure we've already passed.
Well, okay. 47, Mr. Scroop. Her eyes went
No.
wide.
Wait. He was the like bug creature, right? So Treasure Planet.
Yes. 46, Monstro.
Oh, Pinocchio.
45, Jenner. From The Secret of Nim.
Oh, okay.
44, Chef Louis.
Oh, Little Mermaid.
43, Murloc the Magician. So you thought we'd gotten past
I
this?
know. Hold on.
all the
Murloc the Magician. Give me a hint.
He was voiced by Christopher Lloyd in DuckTales, the
Oh
movie,
my
The Treasure of the Lost
gosh.
Lamp.
Yeah.
42 is Honest John.
Oh, that's Pinocchio.
41 is Alameda Slim.
Oh my goodness, my brain is mush. Hold on. Alameda Slim. Now that one sounds familiar. Alameda Slim.
We've done it fairly recently. Although
Is
I think
that Home on the Range?
Yes.
Okay.
Number 40 is Lyle Tiberius Rourke. In the movie, he was mostly just called Rourke.
Atlantis.
Yes.
I don't think I knew that was his full name.
39 is the Sheriff of Nottingham.
Robin Hood.
38 is Mr. Dawes Sr.
Mary Poppins.
37 is The Buoys.
Okay, so I remember the buoys, but I can't remember what they were from. Was it
Melody
Make Mine?
Time.
Oh, Melody
Yes.
Time. Melody Time.
36 is Sid.
Toy Story.
35 is King Louis.
Jungle Book.
34 is Prince John. You just
Robin
talked about
Hood.
him. Yes.
So in my head, I'm thinking, wow, this feels really hard. And listeners, I'm sure you're screaming when I'm pausing in between here, but like this is harder than I thought it was going to be.
33, The Horned King.
That is Black Cauldron.
32, The Coachman.
The Coachman. Pinocchio?
Yes. 31, Shan Yu.
Mulan.
Yes. 30 is Man.
Bambi.
29 is The Carnivores.
Dinosaur?
28 is Mrs. Crumb.
Mrs. Crumb.
Not a Disney movie, I will tell you that.
Mrs. Crumb. I can't even picture what she looks like.
From Klaus.
Oh, yeah.
27 is The Firebird.
From Fantasia.
26 is Chernobog.
From Fantasia.
And I think you're going to get the rest of these pretty easily if you want me to just go through them. 25 is The Queen of Hearts. 24
Alice
is
in Wonderland.
I mean, do you want to do that?
Yeah, I mean, we've done it this far.
24 is Ka.
Jungle Book.
23 is Percival C. McLeach.
Rescuers.
22 is Clayton.
Tarzan.
21 is Frollo.
Hunchback.
20 is Sabor.
Ooh, Tarzan.
And then 19 is Lady Tremaine.
Oh, Cinderella.
She's still in the top 20, which is
Yeah.
pretty good.
I think it's evened out a little bit more now that we've had more.
Yes. I think she could stand to go up a little more. But what was that? 19, 18 is Oogie Boogie.
Nightmare Before Christmas.
17 is Ratigan.
Great Mouse Detective.
16 is Hades.
Hercules.
15 is Madame Medusa.
Rescuers Down Under.
14 is Yzma.
I almost said Kronk's New Groove. Emperor's New Groove.
That's the sequel.
Yeah.
13 Shere Khan.
Jungle Book.
12 is Gaston.
Beauty and the Beast.
11 Madame Mim.
Sword in the Stone.
Yes, I still do that when I
I
write
do
a
it
sword
too,
and
yeah.
a stone, just a sword next to a stone.
And
then we're in the top 10. The Headless Horseman.
Oh my gosh, I know it, and it's on the tip of my tongue. Ichabod.
Judge Doom.
Judge Doom.
Doom.
Roger Rabbit.
You just have no love for Christopher Lloyd.
No, that's not true. That's not true. It's more of just like I don't know. This has been a really interesting insight into my brain,
really
I think.
8 is Captain Hook.
Peter Pan.
7 is Maleficent.
Sleeping Beauty.
6 is Evil Queen.
Snow White.
5 is Scar.
Lion King.
4 is Jafar.
Aladdin.
3 is the Sanderson sisters.
Oh, I forgot that they were in this. Hocus Pocus.
2 is Cruella, and 1 is Ursula.
101 Dalmatians, Little Mermaid. I almost think Maleficent should be a little bit higher. It's interesting.
You have to take it up in Villains Court. And that's the thing that's going to go up in Villains Court.
I felt good about her ranking when we did it. I don't think she needs to be 1, but now that I know she's 7, that's interesting.
I would say what I would do, I like where she is, but I think the Sanderson sisters, I think we got in the spirit of Halloween. I think
could be true.
Excited.
That could be true.
The sequel's coming out, so it may diminish them a bit in our eyes. I think they're a good proponent for moving down in Villains Court.
Yeah.
But that's all coming in the future.
Well,
guys.
listeners, I hope you enjoyed that little insight into how slow my brain is working this evening.
Real quick, something we promised to talk about. Let's get a little serious before we get back to the questions and everything.
Okay.
We talked about talking about. I'm a professional podcaster.
Talk.
Again, if you want me to be a professional podcaster, everyone get 100 of your friends to start listening to this podcast. So
I'll even start with 50 of your friends.
Let's do 50. Come on, guys. I'm practically giving this to you.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about the politics. People has been putting stuff on social media about a lot of the stuff going on in Florida right now and how it relates to Disney. It's obviously a very A, serious, and B, current event. And we kind of kept pushing it off because it always felt weird to just talk about it. We're not a podcast that does things current. We're all looking at past stuff.
And also, depending on when we record and when it's released, we weren't really sure what would be relevant, what would be current. The situation was ongoing and changing and continues to be. I think some of it was resolved somewhat, but definitely
there's been
took
other twists and turns.
Yeah,
recently.
and it definitely took a lot of voices and squeaky wheels and however you want to say it to really kind of have Disney put their money where their mouth is, essentially.
To put their money where their mouse is.
Ooh, even better.
I'm so stupid. Okay, I promise to be serious.
Yes.
Because this is a very serious issue. And I believe
I don't want to make light of the issue because
Right.
the issue itself is very serious.
But if you know Tara and I, and if you've been following the podcast and the social media, I don't think it comes as a surprise to you how we feel about this, but especially if you follow our Instagram, because I know we've lost a few followers.
And it to remind folks who maybe aren't as in tune to it, it's the Don't Say Gay bill, right?
It's the Don't Say Gay bill. It's basically a bill with, the argument behind it is it doesn't actually say don't say gay, and we'll get into that in a second. But it's the bill that it is keeping teachers from talking about sexual orientation and gender identity to children at a certain age. And the problem with that is the muddiness of the language. It doesn't say don't say gay bill, but it says you're not supposed to talk about sexual orientation. So what if a kid has gay parents? What if a kid has 2 moms, 2 dads? What if a kid is starting to feel they're finding their gender identity, they can't talk to teachers about it, teachers who are a big part of their life, and that sort of thing. And where does it end? It's also similar to the a lot of different bad legislature that's going on in Texas, where the bills are being passed with such vague language that
it's up to interpretation, and that's where it gets pretty dicey.
Yes.
I mean, the bill itself is not great, but then if the language is not specific, which I think is intentional, just an opinion here, then leaving it up to interpretation means it can be a much uglier consequence or circumstance for individuals.
Yeah, it's a terrible bill. It's a violation of human rights. I'll just put that out there for a lot of different reasons, and it's unfortunate because it passed. We're starting to see it, getting pushed around in other states, whether it gets passed or not.
And so, how Disney connects
is recently after that they found out that a lot of Disney campaign dollars were going to these politicians that were pushing that bill. Now, this should come as no surprise to people because even most corporations that are, half the size Disney is puts money into a lot of different campaigns. Basically, first of all, they put them into, business friendly, I'm doing air quotes, candidates, which tend, if you're a huge corporation, tend to be Republican candidates. But they tend to spread the money around to a lot of political
into what
groups.
Benefits them as far as like where their perks are located.
Partly, but also it's they put their money in a lot of different places because it's like, we have a lot of money to spend and I'm going to bet on everything. So, they go, you remember us when you're in office. They don't like, so what then, not that I'm defending Disney, but like everyone then going, you can't back those people. Disney was kind of like, oh, well, we didn't know. It's like, well, yeah, because you just frivolously give your money to politics and that's an issue. That's its own issue.
Yeah.
But Disney for a long time was like, Bob Chapek and a lot of people were doing like the most minimal amount of lip service to make quote unquote, both sides happy. They're like, well, we
they were trying not to pick a side.
Yeah, well, yeah. And they were like, well, we, will continue to promote gay people in the stories we tell, which, as we've said on this podcast, is absolute bullshit. Like, Tara's eyes, because she knows we have to quack that out.
Yeah. But also because of that statement, I mean, we very much have gone into when they cut it out, when movies go to other countries.
It's easily removable. It's tokenization.
And it's also, not very concrete. It's a lot of like, well, they could be in a relationship
wink,
or they
wink.
could like each other as far as LeFou and, in the live action. And
well, that was, easily
cut out.
Around.
But yeah, so we've touched on that in previous episodes. But it is clear that is not something that they're doing.
So rightly so, and this is my soapbox I'm going to get on.
Okay.
Rightly so, people said that's not enough. Mm-hmm. Disney, you are not doing enough. You need to stop, giving money to this. You need to come out and say what you mean, and it's specifically against the bill. And for a while, there was a lot of online outrage.
Putting your money where your mouse is.
Putting money where your mouse is.
I'm using it.
I wish I would have thought of it. But also, my soapbox specifically I'm standing on is the power of a voice. It's important to voice your opinion because Disney has come out and said, like, no, we're not backing this. This bill is wrong. We are against it. Have really pushed against this. Now, that's what's important to me is, like, I think some people are like, yay, Disney, you did it. No, that's not what I believe. What I believe is we did it. The people who complained, the people who said, that's the kind of change.
Well, and I would imagine too, maybe some of their employees, I've seen a lot on social media of folks who work day in and day out in the parks and, making sure their voices are heard because they're working for that organization as well. Corporation, I should say.
Do not care about people. They don't. They don't care about their employees. What they care about is their dollar. Now, if their employees being happy means they like anything they do that seems good is because at the end of the day goes to dollar value. I truly believe that. Anything that's any business that's above a certain amount of people. And it's just how close they are to the people or those sorts of things. But
if you had a bunch of unhappy people working at Disney,
that's what I'm saying. But
the experience of Disney for the park goer would not be nearly as
right.
good.
Well, you have a whole bunch of people leave. You have a whole bunch, that sort of thing. So that's why, and also if everybody's going, so that's what I'm saying is Disney isn't going to do anything because it's the right thing. Corporations don't do anything it's the right thing. So we as a people need to make our voices heard.
And as patrons.
As patrons need to make our voices heard, need to vote or not vote with our dollar where it goes, and do those sort of things. And I think that's what happened here. And it's not over. It's
still an ongoing situation.
There was a speech I heard from a senator recently. Is a Michigan state senator, but she said something at the end. It's a whole different thing, but it's also because she was getting called a groomer, because that's the new thing is these conservatives, these Republicans are saying, well, you want your little kids to learn about sex, so you're a groomer, which is diminishing the actual term groomer, and I don't have time to go into that, but that's some of the flashback. The newest pushback that Disney is receiving is Governor DeSantis is starting to go, well, let's change some of those Florida laws we have that have benefited Disney for so long.
And that's why Disney's money was going where it was going, is because they didn't want this situation.
The fact that Disney basically
again, not defending them, but that's what they're concerned about.
They're taking back something. Disney has basically had political and gubernatorial control over the county that Disney World resides in for a while, which has made things easier for them to
pass things. Whereas I know California, it's much harder.
Right. So it's easier for them to do things. And now Governor DeSantis is like, well, maybe we'll take those back, which is, okay, I don't believe a corporation should own a county, but also it's pretty transparent why he's doing that. He's like, oh, you don't like my bill? How about this? Which is blatant abuse of power. And so it's important that we keep pushing, because Disney will start being like, well, maybe we shouldn't do this. Well, no, we need to make sure that these are the type of things they stand for. If they're going to receive our money, if they're going to receive our patronage, et cetera, et cetera. So that's our political,
and that's our stance on it. So maybe we'll lose a few of you. I hope not.
I hope not. So we've done that. Let's now that we've done our political thoughts, let's get back to the questions.
Okay.
The stuff we have. We have some.
Is this going to be a 2-part episode?
No.
Or this is going to be one long episode for folks to listen to?
It's our 100th episode, Tara.
Okay. It's just all right.
So our first question comes from Jedi Master Alex on Instagram. What do you think is the most underrated animated feature in each decade since 1980? Now, I don't know if he meant every animated feature. I don't know so I kind of doctored this question a little bit. So I'm going to read to you from the 3 decades we've covered.
Oh, thank you. You have a list for me. Thank you so much.
And we're just going to do the movies we covered, and you tell us which you think is the most underrated. So for the 1980s, we covered The Fox and the Hound, Black Cauldron, Great Mouse Detective, Roger Rabbit, Oliver and Company, and Little Mermaid.
The most underrated.
I'm just doing the Disney ones. We also did. We'll just do the Disney ones.
The most underrated.
I have my answer. Would you like me to do my answers first? Because I've thought about these a little more.
Yeah, I've not thought about it at all.
I think The Great Mouse Detective is the most underrated. I think The Fox and the Hound is about as rated as it should be. I think Black Cauldron is underrated because I think Black Cauldron is considered garbage, and I actually liked it. But I don't think it's objectively better. Great Mouse Detective, Roger Rabbit, Oliver and Company is ranked just fine. Roger Rabbit and Little Mermaid are like masterful pieces of art.
Yes.
They're not underrated. So to me, Great Mouse Detective.
Oliver and Company, I feel like, is underrated sometimes, though.
Do you think it's the most underrated? I think there's parts of all. I think of all of them, I was most willing to go back to Great Mouse Detective.
But that makes it underrated because you wanted to go back to it?
I think it's underrated, yeah.
I don't know that defines something being underrated, does it?
Well, when you come up with your own answer, you can set the guidelines by which
For me, when I think underrated, I think I mean like one that didn't get a lot of praise or one that didn't.
I think the difference between where I think most people rate it and where I actually think the quality bar of it is greatest for Great Mouse Detective.
Okay.
So I think Black Cauldron's pretty good, but I think it's rated pretty low. So it'd be like the second to me.
I disagree with that because you didn't care for Black Cauldron.
I thought Fox and the Hound is about as good as everybody thinks it is. And I think Oliver and Company is a little bit better than people think it is.
That's what I would say. So I think Oliver and Company leans to underrated, and I would agree with Great Mouse Detective.
Okay, 1990s. Rescuers Down Under, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin.
Your spell check.
Thank you. Nightmare Before Christmas, Lion King, Goofy Movie, Pocahontas, Toy Story. Now it has James and the Giant Peach here, but we did not watch this, so I don't know why I put that on there. I was probably just writing them down quickly. Hunchback, Hercules, Mulan, and Tarzan.
Okay, I need you to say the list one more time.
Rescuers Down Under, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Nightmare Before Christmas, Lion King, Goofy Movie, Pocahontas, Toy Story, Hunchback, Hercules, Mulan, and Tarzan.
Rescuers Down Under.
That was mine too.
And I think there's now a cult following of the Goofy Movie, but at one point there wasn't.
I agree
until
when it came out,
but now presently that's not the
rated
case. It's been hyped.
For me, I think Goofy Movie was properly underrated because I was like, oh,
yeah. But the 90s are the Renaissance, so a lot of those are hyped up and for good reason.
And 2000, which I think is going to be an interesting one. Fantasia 2000, Dinosaur, Emperor's New Groove, Atlantis, Lilo and Stitch. I can never get that right the first time. Treasure Planet, Brother Bear, Home on the Range, Chicken Little, Meet the Robinsons. I have my answer. Would you like to hear it?
Brother Bear.
Okay.
For me, and maybe Dinosaur.
Home on the Range is my choice. I think Home on the Range is considered a piece of garbage, and I thought it was not only okay, but pretty entertaining.
I agree. I really liked it, but I also felt like I've never heard anybody talk positively about Brother Bear or have you?
I've heard a few people talk about Brother Bear. Dinosaur at least got a ride, so that to me feels like somebody had some faith in it. I don't know. But Home on the Range.
But yeah, I would agree. Home on the Range also has an amazing villain song.
Yes. I think Home on the Range was one of the ones I was dreading the most.
That you plugged multiple times saying, oh boy, we're getting close to Home on the Range. It also, we talked about it. You can go listen to our Home on the Range episode. It spoke to a lot of things we really enjoy as far as style and placement, like it was in Texas, the setting and all of those things. But I think it's worth giving a try if you haven't watched it. Yeah, I would agree with that.
This is from Amelia via Other Ryan. Favorite song so far?
Like any song.
Any of the songs we've done.
Oh my goodness, that's such a hard question.
So mine will always be Friend Like Me because I feel like I always sing it. But I was shocked at how much Alameda Slim's song, the Yodel.
I love that song.
The Yodel
that
song.
is not my favorite song to date. Poor Unfortunate Souls, I think.
Yes. I think
I've got to, or
Poor
Poor Unfortunate Soul. I'm pluralizing it. Yes. But I think I have to say I love that. I love that Ursula song that gets me deep in my core. But I also really liked Alameda Slim's as far as like a more present song.
I think that's the most surprising song.
Yeah, we also haven't gotten to Encanto, and I basically love every single song from Encanto. Pick one and I'll be behind you in it.
Is there one that was like a particular earworm that you remember? Because that, I mean, it's worse for me.
From what we've done in the past.
What we've done so far. Because I can tell you mine right off the top of my head.
Cruella de Vil.
That was one.
That was an earworm for a while.
Mine is One Little Slip from Chicken Little. Like all the time I'd be like, one little slip.
Nope, totally. In one ear, out the other.
It must
Didn't even know what you're talking about.
It must have been put into my brain when Parker was little.
Probably. I'm trying to think if there were any other ear. I'm sure there were along the way. But yeah, I can't think of it off the top of my head.
So this is from One Spiky Girl 21 on Instagram.
I love the Instagram names. They're so fun.
So she is on the Discord with me and Carly.
Oh, okay.
And she has actually sent us, she did a Alice in Wonderland thesis paper that I haven't read.
Oh,
and I think it'd be a good thing for us to look at before
the live episode.
Okay. So Mariana, we'll get to that then. That's the first time I ever said your name out loud, so I hope that's how you pronounce it. Have you guys considered filming your recordings to post on YouTube?
Oh.
I would like to point out that right now my wife is in a Whataburger Snuggie.
I would own the Whataburger Snuggie. I'll take a picture in it right now and post it on the Facebook page. I have no problem with that. But no, we've never thought about that. We usually don't look our best, though, when we're recording. We are not selfie ready or video ready. I mean, I guess we could do like a fun one, but I don't think it would be an every episode thing.
I have no interest in
okay, then I guess
a video, because audio is enough medium for me to
That's
to
fine.
edit.
Yeah.
I will say, like, we'll may put the video up from the
live
show. I think people kind of want us to have more of a us presence on social media. So maybe we'll do some more pictures.
You know
and
what?
Selfies.
It would be funny.
Okay.
I just thought about this now.
We may bleep this out.
You know what
so
would
we
be
can
hilarious?
Save it as a surprise.
If we would just start posing for couple pictures like prince and princesses. So look up like, how does Sleeping Beauty pose with the prince? How does like Ariel pose with Eric? Like, just look for like still shots and then we recreate them. We don't necessarily dress like them. We just pose like them in pictures.
We may be on to something.
I kind of love it.
I have no interest in having this be a video podcast. I'm on a couple podcast groups where people go like talk about filming, and I'm like, it's not really a podcast if you're filming it. To me, that's just a YouTube show.
I guess that's true. I appreciate the question though.
I think there's something to be said about the audio medium. I do appreciate the question. No, I don't see us. I don't see us doing this.
But you got some other ideas out of us. I think a gem, as far as I'm concerned.
This is from Rebecca on. Sometimes people I don't want to give out their things because like her Instagram handle is her first and last name.
Oh, then that's
so this
understandable.
Is from Rebecca on Instagram. Most underrated Disney movie.
Ooh, of all time or of what we've done, we'll go with.
I think I'm on a Home on the Range kick, but let me try and think of something else I thought was pretty underrated.
I just have a hard time without looking at like a list of names in front of me to just pick something.
Well, what's one that you watched that you were super surprised by?
Home on the Range.
Yeah.
I also really, really liked Brother Bear. Now, that was a weird one for me because I didn't watch it with you.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
But I did really enjoy Brother Bear much more.
I wish you had been there as a fly on the wall for Carly, because when the twist comes at the end, and I was like, what?
Well, I'm glad I wasn't there. We've gone over this in the episode, in my little like addendum or whatever. But that was one that really surprised me. I will say I think I've enjoyed almost all of what we've watched up to this point. What surprised me in a negative way, not negative way, but an unfortunate way, was a rewatch of Peter Pan and a rewatch of Pocahontas, two that I loved as a child. And again, go listen to our episodes. But
I knew to see Peter and Wendy.
I knew they were problematic, but having those connections and watching them as a child and then watching them as an adult and knowing what I know. So I would say that not necessarily underrated, but more surprising.
Our final social media question is again from Other Ryan on Facebook. Favorite voice actor? I got to go with Robin Williams. I got to go with Robin Williams. I think his story.
Yeah.
I mean, his story is a little unfortunate, like about them kind of using his thing, but him being like, I'm good. He was a voice that was like so specific to him. The animation style changed
something
to
that
fit him.
Holds up, I think, as well.
Yes. For something that is so clearly dated, it is also
still hilarious.
Yes.
I'm gonna throw in a couple others here too, though. Tom Hanks, Woody, is so good.
Don't eat the car.
Howdy, 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 howdy.
That's the shark.
Oh,
I'm Woody. Howdy, howdy, howdy.
I just blew out the mic when I laughed.
My favorite
I think.
Character.
Well, whoops! I quoted the wrong person.
I mean, that's how good an imitation that was.
Yeah,
you forgot it was a shark.
The other one, and it might be because he just passed, Gilbert Gottfried's. I love Iago. I just think there's so many good voices in that film in general.
Jonathan Freeman's another good one. I want to put him on there because it's like he's so attached to that voice that they cast him in the Broadway production of as that character.
As Jafar, right?
Yes.
I mean, I could also go on Ursula. I can't recall, and I can picture her.
Pat Carroll.
Yes. Yeah. So that would be, I also want to put a lady voice in there. And I would say, okay, one more. The voice of Ariel, too.
Jodie Benson.
Yeah. I would say.
That's what I'm here for, is to remember.
Thank you. Yeah. So I know, Ryan, you asked for one. I can never parse it down to just one. So.
Okay. So now let's do emails.
Okay.
We have 2 emails. Our first one is from Bob. Happy 100th episode. Hi, Bob here, your resident conspiracy theorist.
Yes.
Sadly, I don't have any hot takes on recent movies you've covered, but I do have a theory that you should pay attention to for one of your future episodes.
Ooh.
I will try my best to avoid spoilers.
What is the movie?
Tangled.
Oh, okay. Yes.
He does a good job. I've read this.
Okay.
Tangled is one of my favorite Disney movies, and I can't wait for the upcoming episode. I also really hope you cover the Disney series in a mini-tale. We will, because it builds so much on an already great story. Now to the theory. Gothel, who's the
Mother
villain.
Gothel, yeah.
Gothel is the evil queen from Snow White. Pause for gasp.
What?
She never died. Instead, she escaped and continued with her obsession for youth and beauty. Corona may even be the same kingdom hundreds of years later, meaning that Rapunzel is Snow White's descendant. Both movies take place in the fairy tale equivalent of Germany. Gothel's look, dress, and the long belt thing that she wears are very similar to that of the evil queen. And best of all, a tiny spoiler from the TV show, she has a magic mirror. There are other similarities between the two movie worlds that I'm sure you'll notice when you watch the movie. I mean, Shorty has striking similarities to Grumpy, Happy, and the group. This will make more sense, I think, to more people who are listening, but I get where he's going with it. Anyways, Gothel is definitely one of my favorite villains, and I can't wait to see where she matches up in the villain ranking. I have some great theories for some upcoming movies, including a pretty popular theory from Moana. Congrats on 100 episodes. See you on the other side.
Yes, I love that. Thank you, Bob. I am really looking forward to Tangled, and maybe during one of our breaks, we'll watch it just for us, because that's what we've decided. So,
hello, Ryan and Tara. This is from Carly.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Oh, hi, Carly.
Congratulations on hitting 100 episodes. It has been wonderful to listen to your breakdowns and opinions about each film, as well as see your knowledge of animation tools and techniques grow over the episode.
Well, thank you, Carly, because you are our expert, one of our experts, you and Leanne. So I really appreciate that.
Your passion and enthusiasm for each film, minus Pete's Dragon, is infectious.
Did she say that in there?
Yes, especially when you bring guests on who are passionate about a particular film, like you, Carly. I cannot wait to hear your thoughts on the next films as you enter the Disney revival era. Question for both of you. What is your favorite thing you've learned about animation since starting the podcast?
Oh, man, Carly, good question.
We'll go to the next question. Let's do on that one. I really enjoyed. I got so deep into Klaus, and because I feel like I'd seen enough stuff like rotoscoping, like some stuff I really enjoy. It's a medium like I kind of understood, but I feel like when someone I went like, oh yeah, that 3D animated film Klaus, and I was like, no, that's 2D animated, and like I was like, what? And then watching the lighting effects, I was like, you remember, because I was like, they're doing that, and you're like very kindly like, I don't know what you're talking about, but like you're like, you seem excited.
Yeah, well, well, you explained it to me, and it makes sense. I knew less.
Yes.
About animation through this whole process, and I think what I've enjoyed is watching each technique adapt. You know, how they used the Xerox era, but how that informed them past that, right?
Yeah.
And I have just found it really interesting to kind of see each era of animation and how it builds off of it. For me,
the chronology has been very interesting.
For me, it's a lot like music history, and that's my world. So for me, it's
that was me touching you going, yeah, like that's a good end.
For me, like if you think of rock and roll is a combination of jazz.
Rock and roll.
Well, jazz, rhythm and blues. It has country influences. Like it borrows from a lot of other styles and it made its own style. And I feel like as we've followed each different, I don't know if it's a process or style in animation. I don't know what you call like the different.
I think both of those words work.
But that's what I've found so fascinating is seeing what they borrow from previous styles and processes, and then what they say, okay, this is how we're going to do it different, or this is how we're going to push it. This is how we're going to, Toy Story is another big one.
Right.
For me, it was really cool.
Pixar is going to be a lot of fun
I
to go
can't
back
wait.
and watch.
I cannot wait. And of course, seeing the progression of amazing and beautiful hair. And no one does it better now than Encanto. I'm sorry. Encanto has some amazing hair.
But you will say that whenever the next
Agreed.
thing comes out.
But
Encanto's not Pixar, though.
No.
I guess you were just talking about in general.
I was just talking about in general. You kind of focused on Pixar.
I'm so sorry.
That's fine. But great question, Carly.
I think a lot. The biggest thing I think of is the lead up to Sleeping Beauty and then the jump to the Xerox era.
Yeah,
and the difference there. That feels like to me,
and the watercolor
like
backgrounds.
To me.
Yeah,
is like looking at like because those every frame of that is like a painting, and then like Xerox is where we get more into production work and
how do we
like
get it out in a timely manner.
Her next part is also rewatching or watching for the first time. Is there any particular film you've completely changed your mind about compared to when you first watched or heard about it? Goofy movie. I love Goofy movie. It has such just my style dad energy.
I've always loved it, so I can't.
Yeah,
but I
was like, I mean, I think everyone just likes it because, you know, it's 90s nostalgia, blah, blah, blah. And it's legit. I legitimately, and I'm sure some of I enjoyed it because I went, I remember this from the 90s. I'm sure some of it is 90s nostalgia. But you know what I mean? I think I thought people just liked it because they liked it when they were kids and then they don't really put a critical eye on it. Whereas I was like, there's some really great stuff in this. Like,
also, Goofy is wonderful.
Goofy is daddy.
Goofy's great.
Speaking of which, just as some of you have been enjoying the brackets on Facebook, and I do want to point out our next bracket will be Disney daddies who can get it for Father's Day. So we will be voting on the best, the Disney daddy who can get it the most. I have my pick already ready to go.
Of course.
But yeah. Okay.
I didn't answer.
You didn't, so go ahead.
Again, it's so hard for me without a list. I'm trying to think back. I don't know.
Pete's Dragon.
No, well, I feel like for the most part, most of them, Cinderella live action.
Cinderella regular, like
Cinderella regular. Cinderella regular. I'm gonna go with Cinderella. Cinderella OG, but
Cinderella
also
vanilla.
the live action. The live action was breathtaking.
Yeah.
But the animated version of Cinderella, I was not excited for it. I was not disinterested. I wasn't like, oh man, we got to watch Cinderella, but I was not pumped for it. Again, go listen to our episode on Cinderella, but that pleasantly surprised me in so many ways.
So let's end up with our voicemails. We've got 6 of them.
Listeners, thank you for answering the call, literally and figuratively.
Listener, because 4 of those are from Richard.
Hey man, I'll take it. Thank you, Richard.
Let's start with a new caller.
Ooh.
Hey, Tara and Ryan, it's Justin. I'm calling for a suggestion. So my favorite Disney-related media to watch and enjoy and to cherish is the Let's Go to Disney World episodes of the old Friday night ABC shows. TGIF. Yes, the old TGIF shows like Family Matters and Step by Step. Whenever they go to Disney World, it's just the best. I mean, the Urkel episode at the Epcot, it's classic. There's just so much nostalgia dripping in those episodes. I love it. So yeah, I would love to hear a Tara and Ryan Princess Diaries go through all of those old TGIF Go to Disney World episodes. All right, that's all I got. Enjoy the show very much. Keep up the great work. And congratulations on 100 episodes. Take care now.
Do you know Justin?
Justin has a podcast called Easy Diz-It, D-I-Z, where he does like travel tips and news about Disney
very
and
cool.
stuff like that. Like travel tips for Disney. And
I will have to check it out.
Yes. It is. I've listened to a few episodes. It's good.
Awesome. Well, Justin, thank you so much.
And
I don't know
that. Great idea.
I don't know if Ryan will put this in, but while we were listening, I literally screamed TGIF right before you said TGIF.
Well, and then the way he said it sounded like he heard you.
It sounded like we were in conversation.
TGIF, it was like, wait, what's that?
Yes. I'm obsessed with this idea and I love it. You mentioned the Family Matters episode. I also love when Full House, I believe they go to Disney World as well. I think Step by Step may have gone to Disney World.
He said Step by Step.
Yeah, did you say Step by Step?
That's the one I remember. But
I religiously was a TGIF gal. We always watched TGIF, and a lot of times it was with Jeremy. Like a lot of times we'd be over each other's houses and like we'd like we'd be like, oh my gosh, what time is it? And like sit down to watch them.
We should save some of this for the episode. But did you, when you knew those types of episodes were coming on, like really try to watch those? Like, because sometimes I didn't do TGIF every week. I did a lot. But if I knew they were going to Disney World, I was like, I gotta watch a Disney World episode.
Yeah, I loved the Disney World episodes. Yes. Someone always gets lost, and it's great. It's great. It's
also be fun to see like the similarities.
Yes, to see if they hit the same story points or bullet points. But Justin, that's an amazing idea, and we will credit you for it and do an episode on it.
The other similar episode we will have to do is Ernest Goes to Splash
I knew
Mountain.
it was going to be in there. I knew it.
Okay, so here is our next call.
Hey guys, it's Other Ryan. Hope you're doing great. Really loving the podcast. Congratulations on 100 episodes. That's awesome. I've really been enjoying, especially this latest stretch. We're getting into movies that I haven't really seen and had dreaded watching, and sounds like you guys kind of shared that, like the Home on the Range-ish movies. So now I'm encouraged. I got some more options to maybe watch the kids and some things to see how they're doing. And anyways, I also appreciate the childhood trauma, although I think you really underestimated the Neverending Story. I'll tell you, Sarah, especially for your comment about kids not getting it. My kids saw that movie at ages 3, 5, and 7 and 10, and every time they understood the devastating loss. Even if they couldn't quite put it into words, you could see them feeling it and internalizing it. So it was definitely a traumatic experience for them, although we get to laugh at it now. Pee-wee's Big Adventure may be one on there, because for a lot of us 80s kids, there's one part in particular that was horribly traumatic, and otherwise it was a really fun movie. Wanted to throw out the idea of some quick hit weeks, maybe like an episode where you just do the entire Rankin Bass catalog in an hour, and you just run through with a few thoughts about each thing. I was really sad to see The Hobbit not make it through the bracket, but, you know, I guess that's just what we get for being old. Hope you guys are doing well. Looking forward to the next episode.
It's always so great to hear Other Ryan. You always just bring such a wonderful energy to your voicemails. Yes. And when I listened back on the previous Mailbag episodes, you did call in about Neverending Story and suggesting that we do it for childhood trauma theater. And I think you had just watched it with one of your younger children. So I appreciate your feedback on all the different ages that they've seen it. I like that he can mark their age.
Yes. Like, it's not just like, oh, they've seen it a few times. It's like, I know exactly how old they are by how I had to deal with it afterwards by the aftermath.
Yeah.
Pee-wee's Big Adventure is definitely on the childhood trauma list. We've got some good ones. So the 500, 600 movie list is a spreadsheet where I've got categories, and then it creates other spreadsheets.
It's overwhelming, but it's Other Ryan, you may love it, so maybe Ryan will send it to you.
But the picking ones that have the childhood trauma keyword in them is always my favorite list, because I just think like, man, there's one scene that traumatized. Because going back and watching Pee-wee's Big Adventure, I feel like that, you know what scene he's talking about, right? The Large Marge scene, and she looked just like this, and it's going back and watching is so silly, but like that scared the heck out of me.
Yeah. And a lot of times with those films, it is like one or two scenes.
Yep.
Return Oz, it's a lot, but there is so much so I blocked it out of my brain.
That was the first one we did.
And I've seen it and had no recollection of it.
As for doing all the Rankin and Bass, no. However, my hope is that with us doing shorter seasons, we will get to every movie that was on that tweener list, or at least most of them. Like, I could care less if we do Trolls. I just wanted to put some newer ones in there, but we will do The Hobbit at some point.
And Brave Little Toaster. Well, that could be on childhood trauma.
Yes. Some of them are up for childhood trauma.
Yeah. Fern Gully is another one.
Fern Gully's up there.
Prince of Egypt.
We will 100%, as God is my witness, we will do Scooby-Doo WrestleMania Mystery.
I'm actually fine with that.
You've seen it, and you liked it.
Oh, yeah, I have seen it.
It's where John Cena stops a boulder with his bare hands.
Yes,
it's amazing.
He's so strong.
Okay, so now we begin what I like to refer to as the Richard saga. So here is call number 1 from Richard.
Hey, Tara and Ryan, this is Richard.
First of all, I want to call and say thank you for doing the episode on Turner and Hooch. I want to apologize if you are traumatized beyond belief by the ending, but I'm glad you guys had a chance to watch it, and hopefully, as I said on the Facebook group, have learned to appreciate Lady more. And that's one thing I think I like about the movie is that it kind of shows how, you know, a pet can really change a person. You know, in the beginning we see Scott Turner as basically just this loner, this, you guys call him OCD, but I just want to say that he's just set in his ways almost, because you just kind of see maybe glimpses of OCD in the film. But, anyway, his life turns upside down with this dog, and, you know, at first he hates the dog, but then he learns to enjoy the dog and finally forms a bond. And from there, you know, granted with the ending, you know, it's a real loss for him, but it just shows just how much pets, at least to me, really impact life. Myself, don't have a pet. I want to get a dog down the road for the family. But I just want to say that, you know, I really appreciate you guys doing that. Probably the best way to do this, and I'm going to try to clean up this meme because it's funny, but it's from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. When Rosa Diaz gets a dog, she says, let me get it. I've only had Arlo for a day and a half, and if anything would happen to him, I would off myself, or off everyone in this room, and then off myself. So there's the cleaned up version of it. But, yeah, it just really shows just the impact of pets, and I hope that if anybody watches it, that they learn to appreciate either their pet more or, you know, considers maybe bringing something and someone to love into their life. All right, take care. Bye.
You were crying. You almost were crying at the end of this.
So,
you're tearing up at this.
Richard, I loved your sentiment in that voicemail, and I'm overly obsessed with our dog. And Richard, you were friends with me on Facebook, so you've seen probably a lot of the pictures I post of our girl. But you're right. It does make you, you know, I love what you said about a pet changes a person. And I think that is so true. And I really enjoyed Turner and Hooch. It wrecked me 100%. I was prepared for it. It still wrecked me, but
you were prepared, and then it happened, and you said, "I forgot Hooch died," and then you cried. It was the longest I've seen you cry in a movie.
I actually sobbed,
and it's because that scene is traumatic.
Yeah, and so I really appreciate that you suggested we watch it, that we did it. And as far as family dog, may I suggest a pit bull? They used to be nanny dogs and take care of kids, and they're delightful. Not to push pit bulls on you, but we love our sweet girl for sure. But yeah, I think everyone out there, if you don't have a pet, maybe think about rescuing something out there.
So here's another one from Richard.
Hey, Tara and Ryan, it's Richard. I'm calling because I wanted to know, and this is kind of a silly question, but granted, you guys have seen a lot of Disney movies. You've obviously heard a lot of Disney songs. If you could pick three that best describe a typical day for you, what song do you wake up to? What's midday song? And what's your go-to-sleep song? All right. Hope you guys have fun with that. Take care. Bye.
So pick three songs that describe our day.
But I describe your day, or like, is it like when you wake up in the morning, get you ready for the day, and then midday is like getting over that midday slump, and then like nighttime is like helping you like relax and go to sleep? I guess it could be any way we want it to be.
I mean, I could tell you two that like are on, like I have my Disney playlist, which is I pick a song from every movie we do. Like it's a podcast playlist.
I gave up on that.
I pick one song from everything we do, and I put it on there in a playlist. But I have like my just like songs, and I Friend Like Me, Oodalolly, and Why Should I Worry are just on there and pop up every once in a while. I don't know that they necessarily describe my day, or it's songs I would like say like to put myself to sleep. I mean, when I think of the sleep one, isn't there a Mary Poppins like go to sleep?
It's literally this song. Yeah. It's stay awake.
Oh yeah, that's what it is.
Don't something. That's what popped in my head for a sleep song, but that's not what I'm going to pick.
Right.
Why Should I Worry is a good one, but I don't want to.
It's a bop.
It's a
Eye to Eye's on there too. I put Eye to Eye before Friend. I love Friend Like Me, but I listen to Eye to Eye, Why Should I Worry, and Oodalolly like regularly.
Poor Unfortunate Souls. I've mentioned it earlier.
Of course, a villain song.
I have to. Also because
you're like the sweetest, kindest person I know, and you're like, I have to have a villain song in my day.
I can belt that song, and I just feel like I could have that in the car, like jamming to it in the middle of the day. It's a good one. I want to. What are you laughing about?
Do you switch to Ariel when she's like, or you go, sing?
I do. I do Ursula's part through and through. Come on now. Let me think about the other two. I do listen to Disney music. It's a long pause. You're going to have to cut out here again.
I very early in our relationship burned you. Yeah, so cool I am. Burned you a...
I love that mix.
It wasn't even a playlist. It was legit a CD, wasn't it?
It was a CD of villain songs, of strictly villain songs. So this song keeps popping into my head. So it's also an inside joke between Ryan and I. Tuppence.
When did we sing that? When we were in Italy?
Tuppence a bag. Yeah. We'd like go to bed and sing it.
It's just one of those stupid things we do.
Like weird couple things that just happen.
It's not funny to anyone else, but we were like cry laughing.
Yes.
Because it was just
feed the birds.
It was whenever we were walking in squares in Italy, and then it would be like right as we're about to go to sleep, one of us would just go, feed the birds, and like just start laughing again, like being at a sleepover when you're a kid and you're like, you have to go to sleep.
And doing it in like a sing-songy weird voice.
So stupid.
I still need a third one for my like wake up song. I'm trying to think of like a good one that would get me pumped up. I just can't wait to be king.
God, that's a good one.
Or be prepared. Because do another.
Just can't wait to be king. I love the bass. The boom.
Yeah. So those will be my three. Just can't wait to be king. Poor Unfortunate Souls / be prepared. And feed the birds.
So this one is supposedly for me. So let's listen to that. The last one, Richard says, you don't have to play this, but guess what, Richard? I'm gonna.
Hey, Tara and Ryan. This is Richard. I'm calling. This is more of a question for Ryan, but I think that Tara might have some opinions as well since she's been married to him. So obviously, Disney and Pixar are the Raw and SmackDown brand. Maybe Sony Pictures or maybe someone else is probably AEW. Who do you see, Ryan, as the stars of the Raw and SmackDown brand of Disney, and who is the AEW that you see as the stars, and who would you see crossover? All right, take care. Bye.
So if I get this right, I'm trying to like kind of cast Disney characters
as wrestlers.
I don't know directly as wrestlers, but like, I mean, I would see first of all like Wreck-It Ralph is like the giant monster character in a wrestling promotion. I would see Robin Hood as like the high flyer, kind of like a Finn Balor. Let me see who else.
Ursula, come on now, get some ladies in there.
Yeah, Ursula would be a heavy for. I mean, that's not a weight joke, but just she'd be a heavy for like definitely a women's division. I'm not kind of doing exactly what you said. I know you wanted like Disney. I don't know who AEW would be nowadays. I guess it'd be Shrek. Well, there's like a wrestling scene in Shrek. Do you remember that? When he shows up to Farquaad like sends everyone after him, and they end up in a ring, and he starts like.
Oh
throwing
no,
it,
I don't.
And then like one of the people's like, get over the chair. Gosh, but yeah, I like this idea of like, I'm sure there's an artist out there who like, you know, not 1-to-1, but like putting, you know, like these Disney characters would be faces, these Disney characters would be heels, tweeners. I think, I mean, and that's what to me, boy, we're going to go on a wrestling thing here. Like that's to me when people are like, I don't like wrestling. And granted, wrestling can be very bad and very boring if you don't watch it. Sometimes it can be bad, but good, good wrestling, especially live wrestling, is.
Hey, I will support live wrestling. You'll have a blast.
Yeah, I'll drag it or something, and basically you just go in, and within a few minutes you go, oh, this is the good guy and this is the bad guy, and
yeah, and you just pick one, you cheer for them, and tables, ladders, and chairs and fire extinguishers in that one match.
But I think, you know, that's one of the things, to bring it back to Disney, that Disney has been missing in their latest movies. They're good movies, and Encanto is wonderful, but they don't have like classic heels anymore. You know, it's something people talk about. It's like, where's the villain? Like, we need some villains to root against. And I think there's a thing where it's like, well, we don't, you know, there's a lot of othering that goes on in the old Disney movies, and talk about the queer coding, but that's a form of othering, even though those characters are some of our favorites. And I think that's sometimes they are a little hesitant to insult people by by creating heel character like classic.
But do you think it's also they want to tell a different type of story?
I think that's some of it, but I also think that's where we are. But I just
think I see your point of missing that layout, that sequencing, or not sequencing, but that style of villain. But I think there's also something to be said about telling stories that are more relatable.
Yeah, I think they're doing some of that, but I also want a new Dr. Facilier. I want a new
I see that. Yeah.
I want to see. I want a villain. I want a villain that doesn't Fast and the Furious at the end, where it becomes
Cruella de Vil.
Well, I think Cruella was great, but I mean, I want.
Oh, what do you mean? I thought you meant another crazy intense villain like Cruella de Vil.
I thought you meant the movie where she's kind of a good guy in Cruella.
Oh, no. I meant the animated
but like Raya
version.
and the Last Dragon, their enemy, by the end, it's we're friends now, like a Fast and the Furious movie where the bad guys always become the good guys.
Yeah,
because they want them to stick around. Yeah, that's just something I miss a little bit about new Disney. I'm not one of those guys who's like, these new Disney movies suck because they don't have villains in them. But I think the next great Disney villain is going to be like a breath of fresh air. Be like, yes, a villain. Yeah, so we got one more from Richard.
I mean, Hans.
Yeah, but you spend the whole movie, and this is a spoiler for Frozen, you spend the whole movie thinking there's not, and that's part of what Frozen has going for it.
But I think that's what's so good about it, is you don't see it coming.
Yeah, we'll get into Hans, the worst one. So this is a short one from Richard. Says, you don't actually have to put this one on, but we'll see. Maybe I'll cut it out. We'll see.
Hey, Tara and Ryan, you don't have to actually put this one on the podcast, but it's more of a fun thing to say. So to Tara specifically, what is Kingdom Hearts? Please keep it under 6 hours.
No, you've only played the first one. And
I
think
it,
this
Richard.
is where we have to let everyone know that I think Tara's Kingdom Hearts experiment has ended.
I knew you were going to ask me about it. I was like, oh man, are one of these voicemails going to be about Kingdom Hearts?
With it? You're like, yes.
Because I listened to the other Mailbag episodes where we talk about it, and you encouraged me to get back on the train of playing it. It has so fallen by the wayside to the point where I've kind of forgotten so much. With me, that's the challenging thing. That might be why I'm a completionist when it comes to video games. Go full circle in this conversation from earlier, because if too much time elapses, I forget how to play and have to basically start over.
I'm nodding in agreement.
Skyrim. Although I will just say I will always play Skyrim over again. But I will say with Kingdom Hearts, I'd love to play more of it. Well, I wouldn't love. I will say some of it was really. But
Tara, I've got some great news.
What's that?
They've just announced Kingdom Hearts 4.
A new one? Wow.
I'm sure it's going to be all Marvel movies.
Here's the thing. I would like to explore the other worlds. Maybe I'll just watch some YouTube. It's more of just forgetting where I was in my gameplay and actually sitting down to do it. That's what it comes down to. Also, a little insight into me. When it's cold out and it's winter, I'm much more into playing video games than when summer comes around. I try not to be in the house quite as much.
Not me. I play them all year round, as you should as well, listeners.
But the other thing I will say too is I also need to play Kingdom Hearts on a system where you also play stuff. So not that that's the reason that I don't play it, but that does factor into it. It's not something I can play in another room or whatever. So I don't know that I will get back to it. I'd like to say yes, but it's looking more towards a no.
I only made it through 2.
I might play the new one, depending on what's in the new one.
Yeah, I might just hop into 3. We could probably watch a playthrough of 2. I really like because you got to be in Tron, and I was like, yes. And then I don't know. The thing about the new one is with them being like, they're probably going to put you in Star Wars and Marvel.
Well, and
that
didn't Joe give us? Joe gave us.
Yeah, we have a copy of 3.
Of 3. So maybe I'll just start at 3.
Okay.
I don't know. We'll see.
That was me legitimately thinking of all the games I wanted to play on my system on the PS5. And
You can't put 3 on there?
I can, but then I can't play my games because you'll be playing Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, same thing I was saying earlier.
Yeah, so let's
see.
Maybe
Richard, here's how it works.
Yeah, we're gonna have a fight now because of you, Richard. So that's it. That's all the questions. Anything else you want to say before we wrap up this mini tale that is an hour and a half long?
Well, first off, thank you for all the congratulations for those of you who started your messages with that. And I'm going to turn it around and thank you for reaching out to us. Some really great questions that made me think with my brain fog tonight. I don't know. My brain is like working on a slower pace tonight. But I really appreciate a lot of thoughtful questions, which I really liked. And I say this every time, but I really appreciate all of the listeners, whether you pop in with just listening to the ones that you enjoy, the movies that you've seen and love, whether you're a dedicated listener who comes back week to week. It's definitely fueled our fire. I mean, we have made jokes that we do not have a ton of listeners, but we have a good core amount of listeners that definitely keep us going. I think if we didn't have a core group and the Facebook page wasn't as active and our Instagram, like if we didn't have those moving pieces and those things kind of feeding us a little bit, we may not. Yeah, I don't know that we would continue on our journey. Yeah. So I do really want to give a shout out and just thank all of you out there who have also gotten to the end of this episode.
and thank you to all our guests. Like our guests,
yes.
Like I said, that's a big part of what fuels us.
I love our guests.
Get together with friends and watch movies, especially during this time when a lot of us weren't seeing other people. This is a way for us to, talk and see a movie again and feel, this was a kind of a very, part of the reason this became a nostalgia podcast was the comfort level it gave us in a very weird time
and very cathartic.
But thank you, Tara, for being such a wonderful co-host.
Oh, you're so welcome.
And would you like to thank anyone else?
Oh no, you know what? I'd like to thank Lady. I'd like to thank Lady Luck, our dog.
Well,
of
thank
course.
you for joining us on the last episode of Tara.
Listeners, I watched his
will
face.
now be Tara's Princess Diaries.
Tara and Lady's
Princess Diaries.
Here's the thing, listeners. I watched his face. I knew that he just wanted to thank you, and so I had to withhold it a little bit. But Ryan, thank you, because it was your idea. Let's get real for a second.
Was it?
It was your idea to start this podcast.
Well, I'm always thinking about doing like 8 million podcasts, but also I like the idea of the like collection, and that's something that I think Carley brought up is and you did about music history. Music history. It's been an art history lesson. We've taken a history of animation, so that's part of the rewarding thing from it. What I found interesting. I watch a lot of movies, but like when you actually sit down and like do what we do, like now I would say if anybody, like I'm not the expert on Disney movies, but we are experts on Disney movies. We know quite a lot.
Yeah, I'd love to see you at a trivia night, not me, because as we noticed from the villain list, I remember nothing.
Carley likes to sometimes at Broodfest, which is the get together of that Discord. She has done Disney trivia.
I love that.
It is legendary because apparently it's so hard.
Oh, that's great. I love that.
So, hey Carley, maybe you want to come on and we'll do a Disney.
We'll
trivia
do like
episode.
Just a couple speed rounds, or not speed rounds, but just a few rounds of trivia. That would be super fun. I used to have the Disney trivia board game. Jeremy and I used to play that all the time.
It was the one. It was the charades.
No, that was the charade ones that I had that we played. But there was also a Disney trivia one, kind of like Trivial Pursuit, but all Disney trivia.
Yeah, see, we used to have a Star Wars one like that, but no one would play with me.
Well, didn't you play with
Zoe,
your niece?
Zoe was the only one who, she was like, no, I can play with
she's so much younger, so you had to wait for her to come along to play with. Play together.
I'm sure it'd be an interesting thing now. But.
Yeah.
Well, guys, thank you so much for being with us for an hour and a half tonight. Also, 100 episodes. You
need to put like confetti or something, like some fun sound. Like we reached 100 episodes. I don't know, something.
Let's right now say we reached 100 episodes, and I'll put a fun noise after it. Ready? We've reached 100 episodes. Boy, that was a great noise I put in there.
So good.
Thanks, guys. We hope to see you for another 100, which is
boy.
Yeah, no, it's a scary
That's a
prospect.
strong commitment.
But yeah, we're gonna keep going with this as long as there's interest, as long as it's interesting to us, which it is. I don't feel that after we take our break, I think we're gonna be invigorated to try it again.
Yes, well, and I am literally counting the episodes to Pixar. I cannot wait.
Absolutely.
Also, I'm super excited for the next grouping of Disney movies we've got coming up too.
So thanks, guys, and our next episode will be Bolt, and again, this is our first one where no one has seen the movie, so get ready for that.
All right, take care, listeners.
Thanks for listening to Tara and Ryan's Princess Diaries.
If you want to tell us your favorite Disney villain and why it's guest on, send us an email at trprincessdiaries@gmail.com.
Or you can send a tweet about how great Maleficent is to @TRPDiaries.
Check out our Facebook group by searching for Tara and Ryan's Princess Diaries.
Tara and Ryan's Princess Diaries are available on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Overcast, and many more.
Wherever you hear us, please be our knight in shining armor and give us a 5-star review.
Thanks again, and until next time, remember to always live happily ever after.